A match finish botched at Bad Blood? Rock the Dwayne Johnson's huge secret WWE plans? Triple H still isn't good at media conferences, and more. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive bonus videos over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Last week it was reported AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery had agreed a new TV deal worth $185 million per year, making AEW the second most profitable North American wrestling company of all time. Yet despite all that money, one of their top performers is still having to supplement their income with outside work. Let me introduce you to Darby Allin, children's entertainer, who's pulled up at a random birthday party and taught everyone the coffin drop lol. Little homie in background mid-coffin drop, with video included. He was reposting the birthday boy's dad's message thanking Darby for making the day so memorable. Next year, kid, we'll use real glass. And when you're all grown up, you can bleed everywhere in a cage. WWE's Bad Blood took place on Saturday, which was opened, not main evented, by CM Punk vs Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell. BW Insider is reporting that WWE were very pleased with the match, feeling that it restored the stipulation to its sense of danger and violence that it's lost in recent years. This is mission accomplished for Punk, who publicly said in an interview that WWE had diluted the Hell in a Cell stipulation by having a pay-per-view named after it, meaning you had a Hell in a Cell that needed matches rather than the storyline-driven way round of matches needing a Hell in a Cell. The PLE also saw several returns, the first one of which immediately screwed up the finish of a major match. After two lengthy periods away from the ring because of her mast cell activation syndrome, Raquel Rodriguez/Gonzalez returned in the Liv Morgan vs Rhea Ripley Women's World Title match. While Raquel was a babyface the last time we saw her back in February's Elimination Chamber, she is a former two-time Women's Tag Team Champion with Morgan, so her teaming with the heel Liv made sense. Unfortunately, what didn't make sense was the finish of the match she returned in. Through an unexplained series of lockpickings and ankle chainings, Dominic Mysterio had found himself hanging upside down from his shark cage over the entrance ramp. Ripley couldn't resist the piñata fun to be had, so she got out the ring, ignoring her opponent, and started wailing on him with a kendo stick. This is when Gonzalez made her return, beat up Ripley, threw her in the ring, and put Morgan on top of her for the cover. But the referee called for a disqualification instead of counting the pin. I said in my review video that Rhea had more than enough reasons to lose, getting distracted by Dom having Raquel attack her, that they should have just had Liv beat her via cheating rather than a rubbish DQ victory to Ripley to try and protect her without giving her the title. But it turns out that's exactly what WWE intended. I'm a genius. Fightful Select is reporting that all the interference was supposed to be done behind the referee's back, but he ended up seeing absolutely everything. He felt like he had to call for a DQ rather than the planned finish of Liv getting a pinfall win. BW Insider writes that Raquel is back full-time and she'll be part of the Judgment Day faction moving forward. The other returns, because there's so many of them, were bloodline related, with Jimmy Uso and Rock the Dwayne Johnson appearing at the end of the show. Jimmy was written off TV back in April when he was attacked by the debuting Tama Tonga as Solo Sikoa took control of the bloodline faction. This was so Jimmy could take time off to recover from an undisclosed injury. PW Insider is now reporting Jimmy is fully healed and is also back full-time. But while Jimmy immediately aligned with his tribal chief Roman Reigns against Solo's new blood, The Rock's return was far more cryptic. He just walked out on the entrance ramp, counted 1, 2, 3, which has been speculated to mean everything from queuing up his theme tune to teasing a Rock Cody Roman WrestleMania triple threat, and then made a slitting his throat gesture. He posted a video of him immediately following his return on Instagram, walking off backstage, telling a security guard he'd introduce him to his sister if he had one, telling a picture of John Cena to eat some Fruity Pebbles, and momentarily got lost Spinal Tap style between all of WWE's production trucks. Rambling over long Rock promos on social media. We are so back! He mostly kept his return reasoning and any other plot points to himself, teasing that The Rock will tell us his feelings when The Rock is ready. The only tangible morsel was him saying, "There's been a bunch of bull that's been going on in the past 6 months. So Solo Sikoa has revealed everything to us instead. It was Rocky all along. Because doing shock angles after the copyright logo is so last Survivor Series, Triple H has now started doing major angles after the show has completely gone off air, with Kevin Owens turning heel on Cody Rhodes in the parking lot, which fans shared their own footage of on social media. But that wasn't the only off-air plot point. The New Blood faction was chased off through the crowd by the super friends of Roman, Cody and Jimmy at the end of the show. Solo and Jacob Fatu had to watch The Rock's return up in the stands, where a fan standing right next to them captured this footage. Solo tells Fatu that The Rock coming back was part of the plan, supporting the theory that Sikoa isn't actually the tribal chief at all. He's been following orders from the final boss Dwayne Johnson to steal the Bloodline faction from Roman after he had lost his titles at WrestleMania 40. That means it was The Rock who recruited the Tongans, which makes sense as he considers their father Haku an uncle, and The Rock who told them to beat up Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman. In other majorly eventful things that happened after Bad Blood went off air, Cody Rhodes teased something even bigger for Atlanta, which has started speculation WWE is bringing WrestleMania to the city, like every other city WWE has run for the last 2 years. And Triple H has posted an update on KO's post-show heel turn. We are aware of the incident outside of the arena last night between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. The matter will be dealt with internally. Something else Triple H should consider dealing with internally is basic media training. While Paul Levesque's booking of WWE's premium live events has been incredibly strong since he took over, his performance in the post-show media conferences have often caused controversy. Like following January's Royal Rumble, where he was seemingly unprepared for any questions about the Vince McMahon lawsuit and resignation that happened just days before. And after May's Backlash show, where he said sites like Fightful weren't credible, prompting him to send Sean Ross Sapp a cheese board to apologise. Following Bad Blood, Triple H was asked about the lack of diversity on WWE PLEs, specifically the lack of black male wrestlers. Levesque responded, "I don't see the difference in anybody. I don't see the colour. I don't see the nationality. I don't see any of it. I just see talent." This received criticism on social media, as the phrase "I don't see colour" has fallen out of favour. It implies you don't see the experience someone has had to go through. Triple H's own world champion Cody Rhodes could have told him that, as he famously spoke about deciding never to use that phrase in a 2019 post-AEW show. "I told Brandy one time that I don't see colour, and she said, well, then you don't see my experience." Tony Khan, meanwhile, doesn't see heels and faces. After a lengthy babyface run with the Best Friends and then a partnership with Willow Nightingale, AEW's Chris Statlander finally turned heel on Willow back in May's Double or Nothing, siding with manager Stokely Hathaway. Statlander exceeded expectations in her new role, almost stealing the show at All Out when she beat Nightingale in a fantastic street fight. But on Saturday's episode of Collision, Statlander was randomly a babyface again, getting beaten up by Camille in a feud with Mercedes Moné. There was no explanation on commentary, no backstage angle, and no Hathaway, who had been managing her for over a year. This received a lot of criticism from AEW's own audience, with many self-professed fans saying even they are frustrated by the lack of storytelling here. And the backstage explanation from Fightful Select won't help that, as they've simply reported Statlander and Hathaway's partnership was dropped because there wasn't an option to continue that story. Goldberg was rumoured to be in talks with AEW last year, but that seems far less likely after Bad Blood, when he appeared in a segment with Gunther and Triple H raised his hand, despite Goldberg saying some very critical things about Levesque as recently as March. Goldberg said, "You're next" during the segment, implying a match against Gunther, and Triple H said after the show, "I saw Bill earlier in the day and it was great, and I saw Bill later in the day and there was a different look on his face with a spark in his eye, so I would say never say never." Goldberg beating Gunther for the World Heavyweight title at the next Saudi show confirmed. Goldberg will potentially join another WCW alumni, Diamond Dallas Page, who was shown in the crowd at Bad Blood and posted on X that when he got home, the whole experience convinced him to sign a Legends deal with WWE. A brief bit of fantasy booking, if you'll indulge me. DDP is established on screen as a close friend of Cody's, which he is in real life. Cody enters a feud with Randy Orton. Randy Orton legend kills DDP with DDP's own move, the Diamond Cutter, aka the RKO. Now go watch my full review of WWE Bad Blood by clicking the video on screen now.